question says, with regards to marching and protesting for the genocide that's going on in Burma, so on and so forth. Questions full of different concepts. First and foremost is, for somebody to say that protesting is not from the Sunnah, that's one thing. For someone to ask the question, is protesting allowed in Islam? That's different. Okay, but to mix the two concepts together is disastrous. To mix these things two together. Say protesting is not from the Sunnah. Neither is living in the lands of Taghut, or going to college, or leasing a car, financing this, and gather, and gather, and gather. None of that's from the Sunnah, what? As well. Why are you mixing things up? People say that's not from the Sunnah. Was the concept of the people living in this state of government and politics, and so is that even a Sunnah concept for someone to say that it's not from the Sunnah? In other words, when it's time to make the salah, or let's say making dua, after you finish dua, you do what? Wipe your face. Did Muhammad ﷺ make dua or not? In abundance. So we don't have enough sahih hadith saying that he did it. One says, "Inna masah al-wajhi ba'da dua laysa min as-sunnah." It's not from the Sunnah because it was something that Muhammad did, practiced, allowed. Living like this, college, kala, media, that's something that was totally foreign to what? To Prophet ﷺ. So is it scientific to say that it's not from the Sunnah when it's something that's totally what? Dhafir is what? Everything is what? Outside of the atmosphere of the Sunnah. So many people have to be careful when they say things like this. They say voting is not from the Sunnah. Tayyib, is having a secular government from the Sunnah, akhi, aslan, to start off with? Did the Prophet allow Muslims to live as minorities in a system of kufr and shirk? How about doing this? So we have to be careful. Living in the lands of the Muslims may be a bit different. Maybe a bit different. The ruler who's a Muslim is not a murtad, he's a Muslim. Hakim Shar'i, he's a legitimate Islamic ruler. Laysa shay ghayr dhalik. Fahimta Umar? Hakim ish Shar'i. Shar'i, he's a legitimate ruler. Then the person can say a protest, kada, that voting is what? Not from the Sunnah. But now there's a whole different aspect. Everybody doing this? So that's the first part of the question. To ask, is protesting permissible? That's totally what? It's a different story. But when they start using those words and those terms, they say, this is not from the Sunnah. Neither is it to have a college degree. That's not from the Sunnah as well. Sahih Yusuf, that's not what? It's not from the Sunnah. Have a bank account. A debit card is not from the what? Sunnah. And there are many other things that we do on a daily basis that are not from the Sunnah. So we can't just use this term whenever it's convenient for us. And this is why I'm going off on this part of the question. Fahimtum hadha? This is why. Everybody clear on this? This is what? This is why. As far as protesting being permissible, then, honey, just look at it and ask yourself the questions now. There are many things that are in America that you benefit from and you enjoy as a result of what? No. Protests. Many things that people benefit from on a daily basis that didn't come from except for what? Protests. Rather, somebody may say, there was never no major change in American history, let alone European history, French Revolution, forget all that, but just say our country. There was no significant change in policy except without what? Protests. And the people speaking out against it and refusing to live it or live with it anymore. Whether it's women's rights, sexual liberation, etc. Homosexuals, racism, segregation, Vietnam War, the Eastern Wall, the Western Wall, the Cold War, etc. Everybody understand this? So I have to be very careful. You have to be what? Very careful. We previously said, with regards to oppression and dhulm, when you see the dhulm, try to change it. When you see the dhalim, try to stop the dhalim. If something is happening to the Muslims in Burma or any other place or country, they're being killed, there's quote-unquote genocide, that's a long discussion in itself, try your best to speak out against it, to stop it to the best of your ability, without harming yourself, without harming others. Try to do that which is practical and that which is beneficial and useful. That which will work, inshallah. That which will be a benefit. If you feel that that's the case of protests, perhaps. If you feel the protests are a waste of time, then perhaps. But the concept of complaining and going to the leader and speaking out against oppression is something that's mentioned in the Sunnah. It's mentioned in the Sunnah, in which the companions, as some of the ulama, not all of them, but some of the ulama, some of the fuqaha, they say that the hadith in which the companions went to the Messenger of Allah after the battle, and they were victorious, and he gave some of the people a lot of money, lots of spoils from the war, and he gave some of the Sahaba just a few small possessions, a few small things. So some of the companions, they went to the Prophet ﷺ in his tent and they complained to him. They went to him and they spoke out. And they said that our swords are dripping with the blood of the enemies. And you've only given us a few animals and a few pieces, a few things like this. And we've slayed and slaughtered them. And this is what you give us? And the Prophet ﷺ, he didn't repudiate them. He didn't criticize them. He didn't say, be quiet. Don't say anything. Just put up with my rule. That's not what he said. He told the people about the Ansar, the virtue of the Ansar. The normal people are the outer clothes. The Ansar are the inner clothes. He says the people have cows and camels, have gold and have silver, have concubines, have things like this. He says, وَتَرْجِعُونَ بِرَسُولِ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ فِي رَحْلِكُمْ. And you have the Messenger of Allah in your tent. Which one would you be pleased with? So what did he do? He answered them. He responded to them. Everybody understand this? He soothed their minds and their hearts that they felt were being wronged and oppressed. And he didn't stifle them and suppress them. And he said, shut up, be quiet. I'm the Messenger of Allah. Everybody understand this? So some of the fuqaha, that's not my view, it's not my opinion, and it's not the view and the opinion of all of the ulama. So no one misquote us. No jealous, envious person, what? Try to misquote us. Some people, from the people of knowledge, they say that if a protest is done in a permissible way, it's nothing that's against the Quran and the Sunnah, and they speak it against the dhulm and the oppression and that which is not fair, then that's one thing. Then that's what? That's one thing. Everybody understand this? So it's very important for us to understand that. Now, obviously, America is not Saudi Arabia. America is not Egypt. America is not Yemen. So our island, he may give a fatwa about protests being haram, protests being from the way of this one and the Khawarij and kada and kada. And perhaps it may be right or wrong in Egypt or Saudi Arabia or Yemen. That does not mean that it takes the same ruling as America for obvious reasons. Everything is different. The atmosphere, the climate, the people, the social values, the do's and the don'ts. The government is like what? Night and day. So it's totally wrong to take this general fatwa and specifically apply it to another place. هذا غلط كبير. وما أكثر من يقع في هذه العصر. It's a huge mistake. Let alone the fact that, what if the fatwa, and I'm not saying this specifically in general, what if the fatwa is clearly politically influenced? Clearly politically influenced. In other words, I'm the imam in this masjid, right? And there's some people that criticize me, which I'm sure there are. Mufti's kada, Mufti's kada, Mufti's kada, Mufti's this, he's that, he's this, and he's that, and he's this, and he's that. Tayyib, la bas. So therefore, it only makes sense for me, whenever I give a class, to mention a hadith, follow the imam, respect the imam, obey the imam, love the imam, make dua for the imam, don't speak out against the imam. Make sense or not make sense? Because it's in my benefit. But the hadith that talk about the harm of an imam who's a munafiq, the imam who doesn't do this, the imam who doesn't do that, the imam who doesn't do this, I don't mention those things. And anyone who wishes to talk about those hadith or speak about those hadith or speak out against my oppression, I what? Stomp them out. Shut up. Be quiet. Enter jahil. What do you know? Get out the masjid. Kick them out the masjid right now. And this is what happens. So we have to be careful. Everybody understand this? Are you saying that a protest is haram because of kitab, sunnah, and ijma'? Or are you saying that a protest is haram because it sheds light on criticizing the political regime? And the people are upset and unpleased with how they're living. Jobs, water, food, electricity, kada, and they're fed up and they're upset. Everybody understand this? There's a huge difference. Protests are haram for clear reasons. Or protests are haram because I don't want you to criticize me and to shed light on my oppression. Where are the millions of dollars going from our country? If not billions, where's the oil going? The tourism, kada. Where are all the natural resources we have in our country? And we're starving them like dogs. Everybody understand this? So we don't want to get too deep and scare nobody, but we have to be what, Omar? We have to be mindful. We have to be what? We have to be mindful. America is not the Middle East. The Middle East is not what? America. Everything that happens there does not dictate what takes place here. Things that happen here don't have to what? Dictate what happens over there. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala surely knows best.